In the rolling hills of West Sussex, England, sits a factory unlike any other in the automotive world. This is Goodwood, home to Rolls-Royce motor cars, where over 6,000 of the world's most luxurious vehicles are handcrafted each year. You're looking at the Spirit of Ecstasy, the flying lady that crowns every Rolls-Royce. But this isn't just a hood ornament. It's a symbol of a philosophy that sets Rolls-Royce apart from every other luxury car maker on the planet. While Ferrari chases speed and Lamborghini pursues lightweight performance, Rolls-Royce has one obsession: luxury. Pure, uncompromising, extravagant luxury. And that luxury comes at a price, starting at $350,000 and reaching up to $28 million for their most exclusive models. But here's what's remarkable. While most cars lose value the moment you drive them off the lot, a Rolls-Royce actually appreciates over time. Section 1. The Rolls-Royce difference. Let's put this in perspective. Toyota can build a car in 13 hours. A Rolls-Royce? 6 months. That's roughly 450 hours of meticulous, hands-on craftsmanship. 2,600 skilled craftspeople work at this state-of-the-art facility, supporting over 7,500 additional jobs in the wider supply chain. But here's the truly impressive statistic. 65% of every Rolls-Royce ever built is still on the road today. We're talking about cars from the 1920s still running perfectly. The BBC called Rolls-Royce probably one of the most recognized icons in the world. The name itself entered the English language as a superlative. When something is the Rolls-Royce of its category, you know exactly what that means. But here's what makes each Rolls-Royce truly unique. No two are alike. Every single vehicle is custom built to order. Want your car painted the exact shade of your Labrador's coat? Done. Need the interior to match your grandmother's favorite scarf? They'll make it happen. With over 45,000 paint colors to choose from, and the ability to create a completely unique color that bears your name and is registered exclusively to you, the customization is virtually limitless. Section 2. Where it all begins. Dizig. Every Rolls-Royce begins with a sketch in the chief designer's office. But what happens next might surprise you. In an age of virtual reality and 3D printing, Rolls-Royce still relies on a technique that's nearly a century old: clay modeling. In a top-secret studio, more restricted than the actual manufacturing plant, designers build a full-scale clay model of the vehicle. Why clay? Because no digital model can replicate the ability to physically manipulate shape and form, to understand proportions and aesthetics in 3 dimensions. This is the boat tail, inspired by luxury yachts from the 1920s and 30s. With a speculated price tag of $28 million, it's the world's most expensive street-legal car. And it all started with clay. Of course, modern computer-aided design software plays a crucial role too, allowing designers to refine aerodynamics, test safety features, and perfect every curve. But the clay model? That tradition continues because, quite simply, it works. Section 3. The body. Once the design is finalized, the real work begins. Body panels are precision-pressed from aluminum sheets, then hand-welded together by master craftsmen. We're talking about over 200 aluminum pieces and 300 alloy components, each one carefully joined to create the rigid frame. Then comes one of the most recognizable features in automotive history: the Pantheon grille. Every single one is handmade, polished to perfection, and carefully bolted to the front of the vehicle. And those wheel centers? They're self-aligning, ensuring the Rolls-Royce RR monogram is always perfectly upright no matter how the wheel is positioned. It's this attention to detail, details most people will never even notice, that separates Rolls-Royce from the competition. The body then moves to the paint department. Here, your chosen color, whether it's one of 45,000 existing shades or a completely custom creation, is meticulously applied in multiple layers. After painting, each vehicle passes through an illuminated LED tunnel where inspectors examine every millimeter of the surface. Employee Claudia spends hours polishing and inspecting each car's bodywork, ensuring absolute perfection. Section 4. The leather interior. Now we come to one of the most extraordinary aspects of Rolls-Royce manufacturing, the leather. But not just any leather. Rolls-Royce sources its hides exclusively from bulls, never cows, raised at high altitudes in Europe. Why bulls? Female cows can develop stretch marks during pregnancy, which would compromise the leather's perfection. Why high altitude? Fewer mosquitoes and insects mean fewer bite marks. Each hide is inspected with forensic precision. Blemishes that would be invisible to an untrained eye are marked and rejected. The offcuts? They're sent to the fashion industry. Only the absolute finest leather makes it into a Rolls-Royce. It takes approximately 20 European bull hides, that's 75 square meters of material, to outfit a single Rolls-Royce interior. And the process takes 17 days to complete. But here's the challenge that would drive other manufacturers crazy. These leather seats must be absolutely silent. Remember, Rolls-Royce cabins are among the quietest in the world. A squeaky seat would ruin the entire experience. So craftspeople carefully treat and install each piece, using hand tools to remove air bubbles and ensure perfect adhesion. The result? Seats so quiet you'd forget they were leather. And the craftsmanship extends beyond just the seats. Dashboard panels, door cards, armrests, every surface that might touch your hand or catch your eye receives the same painstaking attention. Section 5. The woodwork. If the leather is impressive, the woodwork is simply breathtaking. Rolls-Royce uses 11 different types of wood veneer: American walnut, fumed oak, aspen, sycamore, maple, holly, Indian mahogany, Brazilian mahogany, satinwood, and their proprietary smoked oak. These precious materials are stored in a climate-controlled warehouse where humidity and temperature are carefully monitored. Wood is a living material. It expands and contracts with changes in moisture. Get the environment wrong, and months of work can be ruined. Each piece of wood is carefully selected, cut, and hand-polished by specialists who've spent years mastering their craft. Sanders and polishers work the surface until it gleams like glass. For the Arcadia Droptail, the woodwork alone took 8,000 hours to create. And that's not even counting testing time. 8,000 hours. That's 4 years of full-time work by one person just for the wood. The finished panels are then carefully installed throughout the cabin, complementing the leather and creating an interior that feels more like a luxury penthouse than a car. Section 6. The Starlight Headliner. But perhaps the most magical feature of any Rolls-Royce isn't wood or leather. It's what happens when you look up at the ceiling. This is the Starlight Headliner, available in the Phantom, Ghost, and Wraith. And it's created through a process that seems almost impossibly labor-intensive. First, the leather headliner is carefully perforated with between 800 and 1,600 holes, each one precisely counted and positioned. Then, 1,340 fiber optic cables are hand-woven through these holes, each one individually threaded and secured. The result? A shimmering constellation that recreates the night sky of any date you choose. Your wedding day, the birth of your child. Any moment in time can be permanently captured above your head. On black badge models, Rolls-Royce even adds shooting stars that dart across the constellation, predominantly over the front occupants, because these driver-focused models encourage owners to actually get behind the wheel themselves. The entire process takes between 9 and 17 hours per vehicle, and each constellation is completely unique to the owner. It's this kind of bespoke craftsmanship that makes a Rolls-Royce truly one of a kind. Section 7. The heart, the V12 engine. Now let's talk about what makes a Rolls-Royce move. The engine. Every model is powered by a massive twin turbocharged V12 that produces effortless, almost silent power. This is Chris. He's one of the specialists who hand assembles these magnificent engines. It's demanding work that requires extensive training. These aren't your average mechanics. Each component is carefully installed, torqued to precise specifications, and checked multiple times. This isn't a mass production line where robots do the work. This is old-school craftsmanship applied to cutting-edge engineering. Once complete, every engine is tested on a dynamometer, a machine that measures power output and ensures everything is running perfectly. Only then is it ready to be installed in the vehicle. And here's something interesting. Rolls-Royce currently offers only one electric model, the Spectre, introduced in 2023. But BMW has announced that after 2030, Rolls-Royce will produce only electric vehicles. The V12 era is coming to an end. Section 8. Assembly and acoustic engineering. On the main assembly line, the chassis and body finally come together in what's called the marriage. Workers carefully connect wiring harnesses, bolt suspension components, and install brake systems. About 20 cars are being assembled simultaneously at various stages of production. It takes 60 pairs of hands and more than 440 hours to complete each vehicle. But here's where Rolls-Royce truly earns its reputation for excellence: acoustic engineering. The Ghost has long been lauded for having one of the quietest cabins in the automotive world. But Rolls-Royce wanted to push even further. Engineers developed what they call the formula of serenity, starting with a rigid aluminum space frame that conducts less noise than traditional materials. Then they added between 220 and 300 pounds of sound-absorbing materials throughout the roof, trunk, and floor. That's the weight of an adult person, dedicated entirely to keeping noise out. The result is a cabin so quiet that you might forget you're in a car at all. It's an almost supernatural level of silence, the kind of quiet that luxury simply can't be without. And this matters especially in the rear seats, which are where most Rolls-Royce owners spend their time. The typical customer has a driver, sitting in the back where they can work, relax, or simply enjoy the ride in perfect tranquility. Section 9. Quality control. Quality control at Rolls-Royce isn't a single checkpoint. It's a philosophy embedded in every stage of production. Inspections happen continuously, with specialists examining every detail. This is Katarzyna. She's responsible for interior quality control, and her checklist is exhaustive. Dashboard fit and finish, chrome element alignment, wood grain continuity, leather seam quality, nothing escapes her attention. But the most dramatic test happens in what's called the shower room. Here, high-pressure jets blast water at the car from every angle, testing every seal, every gasket, every weather strip. Not a single drop can enter the passenger compartment. The waterproofing must be absolute. Every car built at Goodwood goes through this test, and every car must pass. There's also acoustic testing, where engineers verify that the cabin maintains its trademark silence. And suspension testing, where the chassis is subjected to various loads and conditions. For convertibles like the Dawn, the roof mechanism is tested repeatedly, opening and closing, ensuring smooth, reliable operation for years to come. Finally, each car passes through those LED tunnels one last time for a final visual inspection. Any imperfection, no matter how minor, is corrected before the car can leave the factory. From that first sketch to the final inspection, building a Rolls-Royce takes 6 months. In 2010, Goodwood produced just 3,200 cars for the entire year. Today, over 6,000 vehicles annually, with demand coming from the United States, China, Asia, and the wealthy nations of the Middle East. Celebrities like Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Kim Kardashian have been spotted in Rolls-Royces. The Sultan of Brunei owns approximately 500 of them, the largest private collection in the world. The average Rolls-Royce owner has 10 different cars to choose from in their garage. But when they want the ultimate in luxury, when they want the automotive equivalent of a bespoke Savile Row suit, there's only one choice. It's a car that represents the pinnacle of British craftsmanship. A car where 2,600 artisans bring together centuries-old techniques and cutting-edge technology. A car that takes half a year to build because excellence simply cannot be rushed. This is Rolls-Royce, not just a car, not just a brand, but a standard of excellence that has become synonymous with the very word luxury itself.